So here's what I've been seeing online. Number one, a lot of talk around playing games in dating. I'm talking about playing hard to get, playing mind games, manipulating, etc. And the argument is that the only way to get someone to truly fall in love with you is to play games and manipulate. Because people's attention spans when it comes to dating are a bit shorter nowadays. Because you can go on a dating app and see 50 different options if you want. But regardless of that being an issue, it's still not productive to be playing games with people. And that's something that I've seen discussed a lot on the internet. I've also seen people blatantly romanticizing hurting their partner's feelings or hurting a one-night stand's feelings. Or, there's this sort of casual conversation happening online about just being a total asshole to your partner, whether that's a long-term partner or a short-term partner. And a lot of people look at it as sort of empowering. Listen, there's nothing empowering about breaking someone's heart or messing with their feelings and hurting them. There's nothing empowering about that. And I see people just casually talking about how they ghosted this person and they were so upset, but it was like such a badass move. And it's like, is it though? I mean, yeah, I get it. You're in the power position because you were the one that got to shut the whole thing down and you're a heartbreaker in all of this. But that's not a romantic, empowering situation, in my opinion. Like, the act of hurting someone else is never empowering. I also see some discourse around sort of using other people for a one-night stand or something just to make someone else jealous, or even at times just dating someone to make someone else jealous, and that sort of being considered like a power move at times. Again, that's not a power move. That's just fucking with someone else's life. And it's looking at things from a very one-sided perspective. And all things romantic involving two people should be looked at from both perspectives. End of story. If you're looking at the story from just your corner, that's not good. Because two people are involved in the situation, right? And so you might think, well, I got together with someone new super fast after my relationship ended, and it made my ex super jealous, and they are so fucking heartbroken and pissed. I'm thriving and they're not, but actually I don't even like this person. Or it was just kind of like, I just kind of use this person to get ahead and be the first one to move on, and I don't actually really care about them. Like, that's not fair to the other person, for one, but it's also not fair to you. And it's a little toxic. Also, sneaking behind your partner's back. This has become kind of normalized too, in a way that I find sort of bizarre. Because what really should be happening is confrontation and conversation. You should never have to go behind someone's back in order to find the information that you need. The truth is, if you don't trust your partner to the point that you're going on their phone, then you either need to have a serious conversation or you just need to break up. Here's my thing. It gets a little sticky when you're trying to figure out if your partner's cheating or something, or lying to you about something. And it might be tempting to go on their phone because for whatever reason you don't trust them and you need cold hard evidence and they're not telling you to your face. If you don't trust them to the point that you would go on their phone and check and make sure, I just don't think that that's a healthy relationship. I think you should break up before you're ever on the phone. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if this person is so sketchy to you, and maybe they are, maybe they are. I mean, they're sketchy to you because they actually are kind of doing sketchy stuff. then you shouldn't be together, you know? It's tough though. I mean, it's so situational, but I just think that invading your partner's privacy and reading through their texts and stuff when that's not something that you've discussed prior, personally, it doesn't feel good to me and it doesn't feel healthy. Now, you might disagree and say, when you're in a relationship together, it's your right to check their phone and see if they're cheating or something. I don't know if I agree. I don't know. That just feels like crossing a boundary to me that's not fair. And if it can't be resolved through communication, it should just dissolve altogether and the relationship should end. I don't know. I see a lot of talk about how vulnerability can be unattractive. Now, I've never seen it said like that deliberately, but what I have seen is people talking about how, they shouldn't express how much they truly like or love someone because that can be sort of a turnoff. You shouldn't tell your partner about your problems or your challenges because that can make you look weak. I've seen different conversations about this, and all of it falls under the umbrella of avoiding vulnerability as a way to stay in a power position, as a way to present as this strong, tough, mysterious partner, so that your partner doesn't fully really know you and they kind of are forced to romanticize you still because they're not seeing that vulnerable side. They only see your strong side. So they're kind of just stuck in this limbo of looking at you as this character, this romanticized version of yourself in a way. And that's just not good. Last but not least, I see a lot of blaming online. People are constantly blaming their ex for what happened. I have never once, I'm not going to lie, I've never once seen someone come out and say, my ex and I broke up because I fucked up. I quite literally have never heard someone say that. And can I be honest? I've never said that. Like, I'm guilty, though, too. I have never once taken the blame, if you will. But I think it's become sort of normalized to just blame your ex for everything. And don't get me wrong, we all have some exes who really did a number on us, and some of us more than others. And that's not to be ignored. Okay, I'm not saying that everyone's ex is innocent and we're just blaming them because they're our ex, no. But I also think that there are a lot of times when we ignore our own actions because it's just so much easier to blame it on the ex, And so these are all things that I've seen online that I've just sort of not felt quite right. They just haven't felt quite right to me. But it makes sense to me why it's sort of become a trend to date in a way that's toxic. Number one, dating is psychologically challenging in every way, shape, or form when done in a healthy way. I mean, it's also psychologically challenging when it's done in an unhealthy way. But I would argue dating in a way that's healthy and vulnerable and honest, I mean, that shit is really psychologically challenging because when you're in a healthy relationship, you're forced to grow all the time. You're constantly growing to try to be an even better partner in a relationship. And it's interesting because I've heard a lot of people say that being in a good relationship is like looking in a mirror. And it is very true. The first time I found myself in a healthy relationship, I immediately understood what this meant because suddenly I could see myself through my partner's eyes. And I was like, I have so much I need to work on. But that is not a comfortable thing because you'll find that you're facing demons that you didn't want to face. You'll find that you're working through mental blocks that you've had for God knows how long. You'll find that you're motivated all of a sudden to better yourself in all of these different ways, which can be exhausting. And as incredible and magical as that can be, it is a lot of work. It is really uncomfortable and it is exhausting. So it makes sense why playing games and hurting others and not being vulnerable is trendy, because it's just a lot easier to date that way, because you get less hurt and you don't have to deal with that moment where you're in a healthy relationship and you have to look in the mirror. If we were to go through, all of the toxic dating trends that I've seen online, every single one has such a clear reason why it's trendy. Each individual little trend, like playing mind games and manipulating in relationships, puts you as the manipulator, as the game player, in the power position, so that you're never in a place where you're vulnerable, where you could possibly get hurt. And that can feel good in the moment, but long term, that will not feel good. I don't ever see a scenario when hurting someone else makes you the winner, if you will, in a situation. What really makes you the winner is if you rise to the occasion and you're the bigger person and you handle things with dignity and integrity and with kindness, even when they don't fucking deserve it. That makes you a winner, because not only did you truly do the right thing, but also it helps build your self-esteem. Our self-esteem is built on how we view ourselves, and we know everything that we've ever done. We're the only ones who do. And so we've seen it all. We know what we've done. And when we do bad things, it can impact our self-esteem over time. In the moment, it might feel empowering because it's like, I just got revenge and I hurt someone who hurt me, or I hurt someone because of what my ex did, or whatever it might be. And that can feel good in the moment, but long term, that will not feel good.